bunch of people here in person, and obviously we have several people also online, so we will do our best to be as hybrid-y as we can. So glad to be here with y'all in person again. Ruka will do introductions in a little bit. Like I said, somebody's controlling the slides, so people can I see slides here and there? I just wanna make sure I got myself together. Okay, okay, all right, I'm gonna make sure, okay, thank you. All right, so we have a jammed agenda. We're gonna do some introduction, welcoming new members, electing new leadership. I'm not excited about that. No. So we have a few things we wanna get sort of set up here. And then let me know when I can hand it over to you.
Okay, I was just verifying that we have a quorum, and
Yes.
we do have a quorum.
Perfect, yay. All right, can we do the next slide? I wanna make sure, and then, cause we're gonna go into the details. So of course, this is that time, we're gonna thank all of the governance committee members who are completing their term. And I just wanna say this, cause I don't have a mark per se. And we can go to the next slide to show who they are. I do want to just say, to Sharon and Lee and the Michael Page, I mean, going through a pandemic and still keeping this group together and really making some really hard but very important and impactful decision. I think you cannot understate the power of this group, the voice of this group, and obviously thank to Sharon, Lee, and Michael for just their huge contribution and participation in keeping this governance committee here and together, and obviously we appreciate their time. Linda, anything you want to say in regards to each of these wonderful people who gave us their time, expertise, and energy?
Yeah, we're so fortunate with all of our membership, and I think, again, as you mentioned, the pandemic really impacted our meetings, and unfortunately, we were all virtual during that time, and Sharon and Lee both sent their regards and also said that they would continue to stay engaged with the program in the future, and we will certainly take them up on that. And Reverend Page actually may step into the meeting at some point. And we always want to hold on to our former members, and we appreciate them so much. So we definitely want to welcome our new folks.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, so of course, when some leave us, some come in. So we're so thrilled to have our new members. And does everybody have the copy of the sheet of the new members, right? Just so you'll know a little bit about them. And so Dr. Alex Holo, did I say that right, Alex? I mean, I think I know you, but Holo, okay, I should know you. Welcome. And Jason Rutherford. Tabitha, did I say that right, Tabitha? Look at she, okay, Tabitha Blackwell, good to see you. Charlita Richardson, I know she's not here with us.
Yeah, she may join a little bit later. She has
Okay.
a conflicting board meeting, and she'll actually be joining us in the new year in person, in our actual meetings.
Okay, and
she
then
may join later.
And then Brittany, but I say those names fast, but I wanted to see if each person wanted to say anything beyond what's on the sheet that you have here. So I want to see if Alex wanted to say something. Alex is from obviously AR. She's chair of the CCSA Board of Directors. Anything you want to say, and we'll welcome you in the
Thank
show.
you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Look forward to connecting.
Thank you.
Yeah, and for those folks that are online, we do have a bio sheet that we have to help you learn about our new folks, and I will email it to the whole group. You didn't get it in your original packet, and so those of you who are online, you'll get it in your email.
Thank you. We have, we'll go start with people here in the person, and we'll go to the folks online. Tabitha, you want to say anything? Oh, before you go, sorry, Tabitha, you want to say anything? Hello, welcome, obviously, Tabitha. Part of, Executive Director of Book Harvest. Anything you want to say?
Just happy to be here and look forward to meeting you.
Well, thank you for being here. Brittany, so glad you're here as a parent rep and also an early education professional.
Excited to be back.
Yes, I'm so glad to have you. As a parent rep, I'm so glad to have you. And of course, we'll hear from Charlita if she's able to be here. Jason, I know you are online. Jason Rutherford, president of the Durham Alumni Chapter of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity, Inc. I'm thrilled to have you here, Jason. Anything you want to say? I know you're online. Say it again.
Is he off right now?
He's on, but you may not have heard.
Okay.
There he is.
I'm sorry, I'm back. I had a call come in.
Oh, you're good. Just wondered if you want to say anything, want to welcome you to the committee.
Well, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate the work this group is doing and hope I can add a good level of value to the work already being done.
Thank you so much. So we're so thrilled to have all of you new members. We look forward to you just jumping right in, asking the questions, pushing all of us, and things that have been done before. And so just thank you all for your willingness to be part of this amazing core of innovators, thinkers, and change makers. So thank you so much. I'm glad to be here with you all. Okay. Next order. We'll do quick introductions for those of us in the room, just to say hello. I'm happy to start first and go to my right, so I'm right here. So I did say Iome Ruka, my pronouns are she, her, hers. I am a professor in public policy at UNC Chapel Hill. And I will be multitasking, not necessarily this meeting, but I will be leaving you probably right before the meeting ends to actually hop over to my house to go do the U.S. Census Bureau meeting. So I will, so if you see me rushing out of here, I apologize in advance. But glad to be here with you all and your chair thus far. So I pass it over to you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Debbie Pittman. I'm an assistant superintendent with Durham Public Schools, under which the early education department resides. And I have a colleague with me as well this morning, our director of early education, Karen Thompson, but she can introduce herself at the appropriate hour. Thank you. It's great to be here.
Good morning, everyone. I am Waikisha Glass, Associate Professor at North Carolina Central University in the School of Education. I currently serve as the secretary with this group, and so I definitely enjoy the work that we do and will continue to do here.
Hi, my name is Darnell Warden. I represent the provider community on this committee. I've been a provider here in Durham for about 30 years. This is a lot of time I've spent, but this is something I enjoy. This is the work I've dedicated my life to, and I'm just glad to be a part of this committee.
Carry away, you have to.
You want me to go?
Oh, no, you probably know. I think because you went for both of y'all already, so we could go. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Karen Thompson. I am the director of early learning for Durham Public Schools. It's my first meeting. Glad to be here.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Adrian Stevens, and I am the Communications and Public Engagement Coordinator for Durham PreK. It is also my first meeting, so I'm happy to be here as well.
Good morning. My name is Maggie West, and I serve as the Durham PreK Workforce Support Program.
I'm Joy Turner. I'm the Director of Data and Provider Relations here at CCSA.
Hi, good morning. I'm Sarah Glenn, Director of Programs for Durham's Partnership for Children. I look forward to getting to know all of you.
Good morning. I'm Monty Griggs, Senior Director of Quality and Kingston Initiatives here at CCSA.
Good morning, Tara Mathis. I'm Director of Durham PreK here at CCSA. Glad to see you guys.
Hi, good morning. I'm Jenna Hughes. I'm the Durham PreK Manager here at CCSA.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Brianna Head, and I'm the PreK Administrative Coordinator.
Good morning, I'm Xavier Kaysen, retired educator, diving into my second career as Director of Community Schools at the DPS Foundation.
Hey, I'm Jude Schulicher. I'm here as a provider at Darnell. I've also been working in this field for about 30 years. I'm passionate about this and I'm enjoying being on this committee and working with you.
Hi, I'm Donna Rewalt. I'm the Durham County Cooperative Extension Director. And we also house the county's early childhood coordinator, who we're happy to report will be on board in December, so I can share very soon. And I will be grateful for that as well. So, but I'm also on the partnership board, and I'm very invested and involved in early childhood for some time. So I'm really excited I can be here and listen.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Christy Snipes. I'm the president here at Child Care Services Association. And I'm happy to say I've been here a year now, so I'm not new in the room anymore.
And I appreciate everybody being here. I'm Linda Chappelle, and I am Senior Vice President at CCSA. and passionate about Durham PreK. Everybody just gets tired of me talking about Durham PreK. So.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kathy Colley Robinson. I'm the chair of the education programs at Durham Tech. So I oversee our brand new teacher prep degrees as well as our early childhood program, and I also teach early childhood courses. And I am thrilled to be part of Durham PreK. I just am in awe of the work that has been done thus far and excited for what's yet to come.
Well, thank you. We did that actually in record time.
And you know, we have a few people online who are not new.
Okay, thank you. So sorry, Derek, oh, that's yours. I was looking for you over there. Hey, Derek, you want to say hello and greetings?
Yes, greetings, everyone. Hello, good morning. My name is Derek Boston. I am with Families and Communities Rising, Head Start and Early Head Start. I am, well, as of August, I have a new role. I'm the Service Area Manager for Wellness and Inclusion.
Thank you, Derek. Michelle.
Good morning, Michelle Lynn. I serve as Chief of the Division of Community Health in the Duke School of Medicine and have had the pleasure of serving on this committee since its inception and couldn't be more proud of the work that it's really accomplished. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. And I know Dr. Saul is online. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Kimberly Sowell, County Manager here for Durham County, and really grateful to see all of you all here today. We are a committed partner to Durham PreK, so really appreciate all of the work that you do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sowell. So, all right, well, that was still record time. But we were supposed to be done 95, so we're good. Anybody else I'm missing? Anybody walk in while I was looking down? Okay. Well, welcome. We're so thrilled with this just amazing group, both here, obviously in person, also virtual. So next slide. So this is the time we will actually be voting on our governance chair and our vice chair.
We are, but I'm going to interrupt you. I'm going to interrupt you because we have to celebrate you.
Okay, yes.
So those of you who've been on governance for a while, you will know that Dr. Aruka was our first chair. We met a few times in the beginning without a chair, and we corralled her and begged her, and she graciously agreed, and has just been so great to work with, and just so much respect and appreciation. And to be honest, it's been great that she has prioritized us over some of her other commitments because she is so busy, but we've been very fortunate, and we definitely are really excited that she's going to stay on governance and advise us, but just relinquishing the chair position. And you know, I realize that you're not sad about relinquishing.
No, I know. I'm just, yeah, no. I turned I went from being my 30s to 40s. I'm just saying, no. Just saying. Do the math.
Well, you haven't been the chair that long, but no, but we did ask her last year if she would extend another year, and especially coming out of the pandemic, you know, it was really challenging, and her leadership has just been instrumental in the success of this program, and we just definitely want to celebrate. And Tamara, our Durham PreK director, Tamara Mathis, has got just a little gift for you.
The umbrella, see, I would love a good umbrella, you know, keep my head.
Well, we have to give y'all, those of you who are virtual, we have some swag that we will get to you that were given to our voting members.
I love it. Thank you.
We thank you for your service.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. Did y'all give me this one because it's the UNC color?
But it has the Durham PreK logo.
Okay. I was making sure. Thank you. No, it's been an honor, a pleasure, a breeze. I mean, between Linda and the whole entire team, I mean, you actually make this like a dream sort of chair because I just basically show up most of the time. No, but it's been an honor. It's been easy, and really the committee has pushed us. So it's really been a collective work, and so I am just blessed and thank you all to be able to be part of it. Yeah, so thank you.
So now we get to pass the baton. So just to fill you guys in, the way governance works, you know, we're not a nonprofit board, we're an advisory committee. And the only positions that we actually vote on are our leadership, our chair, vice chair, and our secretary. And as Dr. Glass referred a few minutes ago, she mentioned being the secretary, but you had in your packet a slate of nominees for our chair and our vice chair position. And we are proposing for Dr. Glass to move from the secretary position to the vice chair position. And so the secretary position will be open, and we appreciate any of you who want to self-nominate, or if you want to nominate one of your colleagues, we will elect a secretary at our January meeting. So.
Thank you. Okay. So obviously we only have on the slate, obviously we have, not on the slate, excuse me, we're already gone through that part. So we are obviously nominating Chair Kathy Colley Robinson, and also Dr. Waikisha Glass as Vice Chair. So is there a motion to have Kathy as Chair and Waikisha as Vice Chair? Is there a motion for that?
So
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Darnella, thank you. Any questions? Any comments? I'm looking online. All right, all the yays, is there a vote for yay, the vote for yays? Is there a vote for yays? I don't, we have to do a roll call, right, for each of them? No, we don't.
We don't have to do roll call, but if you're online, if you don't mind doing your,
raise your hand, okay, thank you.
raising your
See,
hand or
Dr.
your
Sowell.
reactions, just so we can, it's a little, sometimes a little challenging.
Okay, see, okay, yep, okay, all the people online say yes, okay, any nays? All right, the motion has passed, and starting December 1, Kathy Colley Robinson will be chair, and Dr. Waikisha Glass will be vice chair. Thank you all for stepping up to be the next leaders. And then, of course, the secretary position is open. So feel free, as Linda said, to self-nominate or nominate others. Thank you all. All right, thank you, yeah. All right, the next vote, the hardest vote, no, not really. We need to actually approve the notes, the minutes from the last two meetings. From the May meeting and from the September meeting. Thank you again to Dr. Glass for stepping up to chair that meeting as I was unavailable. So we're gonna be, we'll do a separate motion for each of them just to be on the safe side in case there were any edits. So is there a motion, give you a moment, everybody has a May meetings, right? It was in your packet. And I assume, is anybody online, so Derek, Jason, Dr. Sowell, Michelle, let us know if you don't have a copy of the minutes from May meeting and the September meeting.
They were in your packet, and you had received them previously after each of those meetings, the May and September ones.
Yeah. Yeah, you said, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, just give it a few minutes for people to make sure they get a glance at it. All right. A couple minutes. You should have done. All right, everybody have a copy? Yeah, just give it a few minutes, just like for new members. All right, is there a motion to approve the May minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Kathy. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you so much, Dr. Glass. Any questions or concerns about the minutes from May? Okay, without seeing anybody online or in person, let's move forward, moving the vote. Nays to approve the minutes for May? I mean, yay, sorry, yes. I did say yeah, right, okay. Okay, is everybody online, is there yays all in the room here for approving the minutes? Sorry, I meant yays, yeah.
Yes.
I apologize, that wasn't my brain. All right, is there any, thank you, actually, thank you for those online.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, any nays? All right, the motion to approve the May minutes has passed. All right, we'll turn to the September 21st minutes. Everybody has a copy of that as well. I've seen that, which was also sent. Is there a motion to approve the September 21st minutes?
So moved.
Okay. Hold on.
And I'll second.
So Brittany moved the motion, and then are we saying that Dr. Sowell second?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Sowell. Okay. Any questions or concerns about the minutes from September? Okay, without seeing any, yays for approving this minute? All right, people online, yay, okay, I see Derek, thank you, Derek, I see your yay, okay. Thank you, Jason, so, okay, any nays? All right, without seeing any in the room or online, the minutes for September have been approved. Okay. All right. I think now I turn it over to you, Linda.
Okay, so we know with new folks joining, it would probably be a good idea just to do a very quick overview, and we will be following up with all new members for some in-depth learning opportunities. But just to share with you very briefly, what is this all about? What is Durham PreK? And what the biggest piece of what Durham PreK is opportunity for our children in Durham. Durham County has committed to expanding access to high quality, publicly supported preschool in big ways. We have been the benefit of this investment that was a long time coming. It was very much a community activity to convince our elected officials that this was a great investment, and over many years, this work happened. And just to kind of remind you that our main goals, Durham PreK is a unique program in that it is a collaborative across public programs in Durham. Our goal is to enhance and expand access to public pre-K. We have our state NC pre-K program. We have strong Head Start programs. We have our public school programs that are resourced through Title I, as well as through Exceptional Children's Resources. And the idea was, after real study, we found that there was a big shortage compared to our 4-year-old census of availability of public seats. And instead of doing what some communities have done, which is to create parallel programs that don't intersect, in Durham, we decided to enrich and enhance our existing programs while at the same time creating additional new seats. So really that investment is not being made in isolation. We don't have Durham PreK separate from, locally funded seats are braided and blended with existing seats. And then there are seats that are just locally funded, but we treat those seats all the same in classrooms that qualify for higher educational standards through our Durham PreK program. And the main program goals really are to enrich and improve that classroom instruction so that our children go to kindergarten extra ready to succeed, as well as to further enhance the opportunity for family engagement in their young children's lives. And then really focusing across the board, not just in the instructional strategies, but across the board to really build capacity in the community for high quality. And the expanding of access is really about using local dollars to remove restrictions that come from other programs. So we know that many of the programs have income limitations, such as our state NC PreK program has some different restrictions. And we wanted to have a broader access because we know some families don't fit into those other programs. And so Our goal is always to serve as many children as possible. And this governance group has set the priority that we do first make sure we're serving children who have the most need. And then as seats are available, we expand beyond that. And so this group really guides the decision-making for this program. Next slide. So just to kind of tell you, when I say a collaborative, local dollars are invested to expand seats. Locally, we have, for this school year, there are 653 seats that are being touched by the local dollars. Now, let me say that really every seat in Durham that's publicly funded is benefiting from the local investment because we have enhanced professional development available. We have extra opportunities for teachers to build their instructional skills across the board. So it's really about improving quality across the whole community. But in terms of direct dollars going into classrooms, there are 653 seats that are being touched by the local dollars. Some of those are 100% funded locally, others are braided and blended. And you'll learn more about that in the future. But this slide really talks to our strong partnership with the other organizations in our community that are instrumental in providing public preschool. But the biggest partners that we have are all the early educators in our community. This program prioritizes the early educator and works hard to build capacity around their education and their credentials for the classroom, as well as the compensation to enrich and enhance the compensation for our instructional teams. Next slide. So as I said, just to recap, Durham County's investment is expanding access by creating new seats and broadening the eligibility guidelines. Then also the local investment funds intensive technical assistance. Some of the other programs have some money for technical assistance, but it's not as deep and as broad. So the local investment is really enhancing the opportunities for us to really deliver high quality services. And then lastly, those local dollars are really funding higher wages for teachers, as well as instructional assistants. But primarily, the idea is our theory of change is that what really matters is the teacher in the classroom and how they are able to interact and work with children on a daily basis. That's where we're going to see the difference in children's readiness for school and their long-term success. And so this group has prioritized compensating all Durham pre-K teachers on the Durham Public Schools scale. And that is very different than some other public programs that invest in seats in private childcare. You know, I think of New York always when I think about this and all the challenges they've had because they have inequities in their compensation plan. Their teachers in private childcare are not paid at the same level, even though they're trying to support a public program. And there are plenty that are like that. But from the very beginning, what this governance group did was established it as an absolute, that teachers would be paid the same as the public school teachers. Not that our public school teachers are paid that well, you know, but they are certainly paid better than the traditional early education teacher in private childcare program. So that is a very big priority. Now we're going to move to a voting item, and I'm going to turn it over to Joy Turner, who is a director with CCSA, working intensively in our data on a daily basis. And I'm just going to mention that part of, as I was sharing our priority for teachers, part of that has been that we know we have to pay in order for teachers to be supported financially. And we do have, for those of you who are new, we have what's called a teacher support payment. And it is something that we've established since the very first year of this program. However, it is overdue for review. And Joy's going to run through, and then once she explains what we are recommending, then we'll ask you to consider whether you want to vote to make changes. So I'm going to turn it over to Joy.
Thanks, Lindsay. So this first slide Just want to lay the groundwork by reminding you about what our teacher credentials for the current school year look like. We shared this slide at the last meeting, but it has been updated with a few teacher changes we've seen since then. And just a note, these do not include the teachers at our Durham Public School sites because they are not fully contracted yet, so we don't have all those details. But the key point to take away from this slide is that 20 out of the 30 teachers currently have a BK license. And of those, the majority have between 0 and 5 years of experience. However, we do have kind of a smattering of people along the scale. But the average number of years of experience is just under 8 years when you look at the group as a whole. On the next slide, I just want to remind you about what our current salary policy is and about our current support payment policy for lead teachers. So lead teachers that have a BK license must be compensated according to the Durham Public Schools certified teacher salary schedule based on the number of years of experience on their license. If a lead teacher is working towards a BK license but does not yet have it, they must be compensated at 0 years of experience on the Department of Public Instruction's salary schedule. So the base pay for a teacher who's starting out. If a teacher is required to be paid on the Durham Public Schools scale, so that's those teachers that hold a BK license, the providers receive a monthly support payment to help offset the cost of paying teachers on the DPS scale. As Linda mentioned, that is higher than what they would typically pay a preschool teacher, and we recognize that. And so this support payment goes to the provider to offset that cost that we're requiring them to pay off. It does not go directly to the teacher, it goes to the provider. Currently, the payment is based on a graduated scale, which takes into account the monthly salary and teachers' years of experience. And so on the next slide, it explains what the current scale is. So it starts out as 5% of the teacher's total salary if the teacher has 0 years of experience, and that's what the provider receives. Then there's a 1% increase every year beginning at 1 year of experience, a 1.5% increase beginning at 3 years, and then a 0.3% increase every year beginning at 15 years. So just to give you some perspective, if a teacher had 0 years of experience, the provider would get 5% of their salary, their monthly salary, through the support payment. If a teacher had 8 years, they would get 16%, and if they had 24 years, they'd get 28%. So the percentage that we pay kind of grows because the salary grows over time. As Linda mentioned, this has been in place since the first year of Durham PreK, and it's been several years now, so we wanted to look at it again. On the next slide, you can see this chart shows the way that as raises have happened over the past several years, both through the state legislature and the changes to the base scale, and also in the changes to the local supplement at the county level. The amount that providers are responsible for has increased over time. I can't really see very well from out here, but there is a yellow line up there that was our very first year. And so that was where we started out. And then the top line, it's brown or maroon. I'm not so great with colors, but it's one of those, is if we change nothing, this is the amount that providers would now be responsible for. So you can see there's been a very big shift over time in the amount that providers have been responsible for. And you can also see there's some sharp increases at the 15-year mark and at the 25-year mark, which we worry does not incentivize providers to hire teachers with higher levels of experience. You can definitely see they have to pay more out of pocket when they make those big jumps at those years of experience.
Joy, can I interrupt you 1 second? Yeah. I just do want to make it clear. Especially since we have some new folks, every month providers are paid a per student fee for the program. And we have increased that reimbursement rate every year. And this support payment was never designed to fully help pay for the teacher. So just want to mention that reimbursement rate has increased. It's just that we have not revisited the teacher support payment. So just wanted to throw that in there since we have some new folks.
Right. And because the graduated scale is based on a percent, our teacher support payment has increased slightly over the years because it's always 5% of the salary, for example, at the starting out. So as the salary goes up, so does 5%. But thankfully the legislature has been making increases every year, and it just has not seemed to keep pace with what our current method is. So what we are proposing is changing in a couple different ways. First of all, bumping up our base rate to 10% of the total salary at 0 years of experience. And then, that would be double what we were paying now, because we're at 5% at the very beginning of the scale. And that would make a big impact, obviously, on the amount that providers are responsible for. You can see the shifts at different years of experience. I'm not going to read all of those. It does, if you look at it, I know it seems very random, like why did we choose these numbers? So the teacher salary scale kind of sees steady increases through 15 years of experience on the state level, and then it's pretty stagnant until you get to 25 years, and then it sees another jump and then it levels off again. And so that is part of the reason that you see these changes over time. And with the way also that the salary increases have been implemented each year, there's not always the same step increase from 2 years to 3 years, from 3 years to 4 years. It might be 1,000 from 2 to 3 and 900 from 3 to 4, something like that. So it's not like a regular progression on this scale. And so that's why the numbers kind of vary a little bit. And that's part of what has gotten it a little bit off kilter over the years, because every year it's just a little bit different, the changes that they implement. But implementing this scale would help shift some of the burden for the teacher raises to Durham PreK and taking that burden away from the providers. So if you go to the next slide, this is that same chart that we just showed that had the change over time. There is a green line though that would be the proposed method shows up on the green line on the chart. And so you can see that green line, the amount providers are responsible for would decrease at all experience levels from where we are currently. Even based on last year's model, but it would definitely even decrease if we were to look at what this year's salary levels are. And it would have a greater impact for those providers who employ more experienced teachers. So you can see it kind of flattens the curve a little bit. You don't have those big jumps up at 15 and 25 years. It's a more steady incline, and then it kind of levels out and actually goes down the more years of experience that the teachers have. So we believe this model better incentivizes hiring the most experienced teacher available. We always want providers to feel like they can hire the most experienced teacher that they can and not see the financial impact as a barrier to that. And then it also helps address concerns about the impact of teacher raises on the providers that we've seen over the past several years. If this is approved, the new support payment scale would be, it could be, if you vote for it to be retroactive to the beginning of the school year, because the teacher raises that were just passed are also retroactive to the beginning of the school year. So providers will be making back pay to their teachers at the new higher rates. And we could make these payments as early as December to providers if this change was approved.
So for those of you who are new to this group, this was in the beginning of Durham PreK, this was a really important piece of decision making, because what our goal was to attract and retain those really seasoned, experienced teachers. And we knew that by requiring payment on the Durham Public Schools scale, which was new to our private providers, This created a situation where, you know, we didn't want people to really see that salary as intimidating or, you know, a big problem. And I think that when we look across the state at other programs and other states and public programs, some of them have some supplements that they provide for teacher pay, but few of them match it to the scale and implement it in a way that takes into account the higher costs for a more seasoned teacher. And so that was just for context of when this was originally passed. The debate was, it was a very positive conversation among this group, but it was deeply studied and considered when it was originally passed.
Yeah. I have a couple questions, but everyone see if anybody has questions or clarification. Thank you so much, Joy, for really the details that you all provided to allow us to kind of see it all together. Any questions or clarifying questions for Joy? Yes.
You guys know I was gonna speak.
Yes.
I don't have questions, but I wanna kind of give some context to what we're deciding here. I've been one of the original committee members, and I intentionally chose not to be a provider for Durham PreK. And at first it was personality issue, but as I got into the real meat of the work, I decided that my presence on this committee would value more if I didn't have a personal gain to be a part of it. So I didn't apply intentionally for Durham PreK. So my work and my words will have value and credibility when I speak. And so, but I am a provider and I am a business owner, and I know how important this is. This is super, super important to keep private providers in this space. Okay, we cannot compete with Durham Public Schools. We just cannot. We just do not have the resources. And so therefore, most of the talent goes to Durham Public Schools. It's just the way it is. And we've kind of deal with, okay, that's just the way it is. We're gonna get a third level teacher. I mean, as my colleague here, but this kind of leveled the playing field for us. This really gave us an opportunity to recruit and retain good talent, good teachers in our programs. And we have, as Durham Public Schools though, we have some of the most vulnerable citizens here in Durham that we provide care for some of the most challenged families. So them having the opportunities to receive instruction from teachers of that caliber is phenomenal. It's just very critical in their development and very critical in the real support that we give to children and families here in this county. So when you're considering these decisions, we really need your support. We really need your support. I just lost one of my seasoned teachers for my NC pre-K program to Durham Public Schools. And this lady was so committed. She would be there. And I would go over there at nighttime and I would see her in that class. I'm like, what are you doing here, Ms. Fox? She loved it. She just loved it. But I couldn't keep her because she wanted more of the benefits. And, you know, it's just, you know, that kind of, you know, that kind of did something to me. So, you know, please, 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 when you consider this, consider that this childcare is something that we're passionate about, but it is a business. And if it's not profitable, then we can't make it work. And this helps to make it work.
Thank you for that. Before actually we continue, I also want to just recognize that Reverend Page is here. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And you weren't here. We were actually thanking you and a couple of other members who we know are rolling off the governance committee, but we hope that you will continue to stay plugged in, come to meetings as your time, schedule, and passion allows. But just want to take a moment to thank you just for what you have provided for not just this committee, but really the city of Durham at large and the state of North Carolina. So thank you. I just want to make sure we know that. Any questions? Thank you so much, Donna, for I think your passions and sharing the context, right? And exactly, it's just the context of early childhood Durham is actually not that unique compared to, maybe it's just, that's just the nature of early childhood writ large, grappling with, I mean, Head Start, I would just say quickly, Head Start, yesterday just put out a notice of rulemaking that basically says Head Start, will, basically compensate, educators similar to public school and preschool. So I think, the issue is being recognized even in the federal system of Head Start. Any questions or comments that people have to Joy's presentation? Just Brittany, please.
Not necessarily a question, but just a comment from a parent perspective. I know like with my daughter's center, it's not a Durham PreK center, but like we recently got tuition increases just to be able to sustain the talent that they have. So I appreciate the call out that this is taking less of the financial burden off of providers because inflation, like food costs, all of that is going up. And oftentimes as parents, like we are now having to kind of make up the difference with our tuition. So I definitely see a benefit on that for the parents that come through the program as well.
Can I ask the question, right? Because so obviously a lot of, it's clearly based on, based on obviously the data, we're seeing obviously a good chunk of it exactly will, if to do this, will mean some of those that are more the seasoned teachers. So here in the data, at least for 23-24, the number, at least of teachers that are 21 plus in terms of years of experience is 0. Do we know what it was at any point in time, the average, right? Because I guess I'm always just, again, the pay issue clearly is probably why it's 0, at least in that years of experience, and obviously 3 at the 16 to 20. So I'm just curious if we have a sense of what it has been or what it was before. Any sense of that?
Well, a couple things. Remember, this chart that we shared does not include Durham Public School teachers. And historically, even in our program in Durham Public Schools, teachers tend to be on the farther experienced end. And so once we hope to have that information by January. We will come back to you with a new chart and you'll be able to see, because that will skew the experience line. Joy, I see you avidly looking at your computer.
Yeah, so last year we had 2 that were above 21.
So yeah, so I mean, so I feel like this good, I mean, the DPS's data is not in here, because we would have been like, oh, okay. But I feel like that may tell us, at least within the sort of community-based childcare programs, to pretty much have 0 and have 2 the year before, and maybe a little bit more potentially the year before that. So there's clearly, so I think I'm just making note of that portion. And so I think I would be interested if this is passed, whether you'll see an uptick, right, of teachers that are, more in that 16 to 20, 21 plus, in terms of numbers. But any other questions or comments? Those online, feel free to raise your hand and or unmute, and because we can hear the noise levels, to let us know if you have any comments or questions as we sort of just finish up the conversation and potentially ask for a vote. But I just want to make sure people have a good sense of what we're voting for, and obviously why. And also, yep, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
So I'm the other provider on this committee, and we do have a Durham PreK classroom. So this is something that I don't focus on because obviously we have a vested interest. What I can tell you is that all childcare programs need money, especially now the stabilization grants are going away. So what happened was, during the course of the pandemic, we were given all this money, which was great, and we all put our teacher pay up because we were given the money to be able to do that. And now this money's going away next June, and now what are people going to do? So anything you can do to help childcare programs is invaluable. And in terms of Durham PreK teachers, I'm fortunate to have 2 teachers right now that have stayed with us, but I know that our lead is likely to leave next year because she's looking to go to Durham Public Schools because they have better benefits. Private programs simply can't provide the same. It's just not financially feasible. And also for most private programs, it's actually really hard to find teachers that have a birth to kindergarten license that want to work in private programs. Even they go to public school, they get more money, they get better benefits. But anything you can do to help us is absolutely invaluable.
Thank you, Drew. Any other questions, clarification?
I just want to say for sustainability, this is a drop in the bucket of what needs to happen. I mean, the benefits thing, I'm just going to keep saying this. We got to figure out something with benefits if we're going to keep folks in private childcare. Because they're going to keep leaving if we aren't able to provide benefits.
Because we saw, I think in the data that the state showed, we saw that a lot of the stabilization funds that people received, at least some of them went to actually providers saying, I'm gonna finally try to do something with my retirement, right? Like actually get a retirement at 40 or 50. So we do know that issue is gonna continue to be top of mind between health insurance and obviously the benefits at large. All right, so unless there's any more questions, comments, just looking online as well. Is there let me just make sure, is there a motion? So which one are we motioning for? Is there specific, I wanna make sure we have them, so we know we're potentially gonna vote for, so we all know what it is.
So Jenna, can you take the slide back to the proposed support payment scale? That, thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
So this recommendation from the staff is based on review of the budget, what we know we can afford within the current budget. And obviously you have the purview to recommend whatever you choose to, but this is what we've analyzed that we know we can afford at this point. I will say two things, just as a reminder, especially with our new folks. Because this is an advisory committee, the way all of our votes for spending or for dramatic program changes, everything is a recommendation. Your vote is a recommendation that goes to the county. And so, I just always like to remind folks of what your vote means. It means that you're making a recommendation to our funder about the program. And I will say that historically, we have had the benefit of everything this group has recommended has historically all been implemented with the county's support. But we always want to put that out there that anything that passes always does have to have the county's blessing, since they're the primary funder. But the other piece is that someone said to me, well, what if governance wants to do more? What I would say is that this is what we can afford, that we know we can afford based on the current budget. But of course, whatever recommendation this group makes, we would always pursue, for the future, so.
Because so thank you, Linda, so again, reminding us, right, it's a more recommendation, but we're voting, obviously, whatever the recommendation is. I just want to be clear too, because there are always opportune times when we actually vote on different pay models as well. So it's not like a one-shot sort of deal. Right now, is to at least go back and look at what we did in 2018 and update it at least for 2023. Again, you may revisit it every year. So technically, I should revisit this every year, just as many policymakers do anyways. So then the motion is, at least to consider, based on the work that CCSA and team have done, is to basically put on a motion that says to proceed with a proposed support payment scale that starts at 10% of total salary at 0 years of experience, et cetera. So that's the proposed, I assume, from the staff. So is there a motion on the teacher support payment?
So I think Debbie might have a question.
If we could clarify who would need to abstain.
Yes, so our
yes.
our abstaining includes June as a provider from Yates, Derek as the representative from Head Start, Dr. Pittman as the Durham Public School representative, and then also, and that's all that are present today that are conflicted. Darnella as a provider can vote, as she mentioned before, because she's not conflicted.
Thank you for that, Dr. Pittman.
Thank you.
Okay.
I make a motion to adopt the recommendation proposed by Durham PreK, CCSA, for the 10% of total salary increase and the subsequent increases for the year's experience
Thank
as
you.
presented to this committee.
Thank you, Darnella. Is there a second?
Jason,
Oh, thank you, okay. Thank you, Jason, second. Okay, are there any other questions or comments regarding the motion that was put forward? Okay. So the motion, so all the yays to this motion are moving forward with the proposed support payment scale to start 10% total salary at 0 years and subsequently increase. Okay. Thank you. I see you guys online. Thank you so much for those online. All right. Any nays? All right, so the motion has passed regarding the proposed support payment scale to start at 10% of total salary at 0 years of experience, and then obviously increasing based on recommendations after that. All right, thank you all. Thank you for all the thoughts, comments, and feedback. That motion has passed. All right, oh, we get a 5-minute break. Okay, yay. Okay. Oh, so
we are ahead of
so
schedule.
can we do 7 minutes? So come back at 10:35. Look at that.
My reading glasses.
Oh, retired,
There's some snacks in the back if anybody wants any, help yourself, please.
Okay, right on time.
That's great.
In person.
Ahead of schedule.
Yeah, good knock on wood. Okay, there we go. Oh, thank you. See, I didn't know it was behind me. I apologize. All right. Okay, you can hear us, I assume, those online. Yeah. Okay,
great.
Perfect. Okay, thank you so much, Michelle, for nodding your head. At least that's the head I saw first. Sorry. All right, so back to, all right, so team, so Linda, team.
Okay, so you received in your packet a copy of a letter from Dr. Pittman, who's with us today. Obviously, is one of our governance members representing Durham Public Schools. But you all received a copy of a memo. Durham Public Schools is requesting consideration around the compensation plan for their instructional assistants. Those of you who are new, just to let you know, and those of you who've been with us last spring, at the March meeting, this group voted to elevate the instructional assistant minimum wage requirement for Durham PreK. We previously had established a rate, and what this group had said when Durham PreK was in its infancy, there was a lot of uncertainty about what to do, about what was compensation should look like for instructional assistants. And so in the first few years, there was a base rate, and from our analysis, we found that the majority of sites paid more than that base rate at that point. And this group did debate and did decide to pass a requirement that the instructional assistant position minimum relate to the Durham living wage, the Durham County living wage. Now, for those of you in this field and you hear about all these wage things, we know there's a lot of different calculators for the living wage. And at that point, we voted to, you voted to establish 1760 as the rate, as a minimum. We don't dictate how much sites pay instructional assistants, and some of them pay more. So that is completely fine. But we needed to establish what was a minimum requirement. And in that process, we did pass that last spring as something that would have to be implemented for the current school year. So that change took effect with the 23-24 school term. And at the time, we thought we would be in good shape because of the fact that many of our sites were close to or over that amount. What we found was, and as we began the contracting process, just so you know, we feel so strongly about your decisions around compensation that we do have staff time dedicated for monitoring. So we do actually monitor and require proof of pay for both our teachers and our instructional assistants, not because we're trying to have that punitive lens, but just to support sites in assuring that they're paying correctly. Because as Joy mentioned earlier with the teacher, the salary scale for teachers in North Carolina is interesting, challenging, and doesn't really follow what we think of as percent raises that makes sense. And so there's a lot of support that we provide to sites to help them in navigating how much the wages should be. And for instructional assistants, we also provide some support to help them in pursuing folks that have really good credentials in that IA role. So for the contracting process this year, we are not in contract with Durham Public Schools, although they are, do certainly provide public preschool seats and programs. And we do have Durham PreK designated seats in Durham Public Schools. You'll recall that the school system has committed to grow the preschool seats over time as a commitment that the superintendent made along with the school board to increase the services to preschool children in the public schools. And we are committed to that mixed model of service for private and public sites. But for Durham Public Schools, as we were looking to enter into contract this year, we learned that they did not meet the minimum requirement for instructional assistants, the $17.60 per hour. You have a memo from the district that Dr. Pittman wrote to really focus us on where they are presently. What we need is for this group to have a discussion about this and consider whether or not to grant the district's request for a waiver of the instructional assistant salary minimum. And certainly we want to support all of our partners in this compensation arena. And I know since Debbie's here, I don't know if you would like to say a few words, feel free. But we will open it up obviously for discussion as we consider whether or not we are able to understand. If we have any questions about it, we'll certainly ask Dr. Pittman to answer any questions. And if it's something we have to get back to you on, obviously we would.
Want to say anything, Dr. Pittman?
Dr. Chappelle, that was awesome. And it really reflects the district. If you would, the memo highlights and really captures the essence of where we are. The final paragraph really lifts up where we're at a crossroads. Durham Public Schools, as we all know, operates on a state salary scale and with also a local salary scale. And the Board of Education votes and adopts that. And when we overlaid where we are now with the vote of the living wage in March of 2023, for the most part, we're in great shape. And as a result, over the last several months, Durham Public Schools has just completed a 1-year salary study of classified employees, which is our instructional assistants. And as a result of that, the salary scale adjusted quite significantly forward and up. And as we look at the employees in the Durham pre-K classrooms, for the most part, all of them are going to be in great shape, well above the minimum and beyond. But we did identify 2 employees that are 4 cents shy of that minimum requirement in this moment. So the memo lifts that up, but it also, we went back and said, okay, at our the lowest starting rate of $17.30, where is this going to land us in partnership with Durham pre-K? And the district is highly committed to ensuring our employees are appropriately compensated and highly support the decision of the living wage in Durham. And so when we look at the increase in the salary as a result of the classified salary schedule, and then overlaying, as you all have lifted up in the teacher compensation discussion, the salary benefits, the health benefits, the retirement benefits, the leave. When a teacher or an IA is not at work, they have leave that kicks in, they get paid for those days. We estimate that the package, and you can see it in the memo, is around $47,000. And so in this moment with those 2 employees at the 4 cent minimum, we think we're off by about $516 of those 2 employees. No, if we, at the lowest rate, if we had employees at $17.30, we'd be $516 shy of the annual per hour living wage compensation. However, when you factor in the rest of the benefits at that starting rate, the benefits is about $47,000. So we're respectfully asking a consideration of a waiver. We do have the obligation to follow the salary schedule that's voted on and adopted by the Board of Education. So this has caused some, the reason for us coming together today.
It's caused a delay right now at this point in time. Okay.
Yeah. I hope that clarified, and I'm happy to answer questions. Sure.
Thank you for that, Dr. Pittman. So everybody, I think, saw the memo, including those online as well. Any questions, concerns, clarifications needed about the request for a waiver for the minimum, for the instructional assistant salary minimum hourly requirement waiver from DPS? Yes or no?
Okay, so what you're saying with the staff you have on now, that it's just gonna be a $516 difference, that's what I'm asking?
It would be less than that. I think it'd be less because they're basing that amount on the $17.30 of the hourly rate. But the 2 staff members are actually at $17.56.
And I see the benefits package and how that plays out, but I really would like, Durham Public Schools is pretty much our standard. And so I'm just afraid if we waive this for them, then what's to say, early Head Start won't come and ask us to waive it for them. And it would be this trickle effect. And so my concern over this is that that the resources are there, and that if it's just that small, minute amount of funding that it will take to meet this mandate, then I think they should be first at doing it. They should set the precedent for the rest of the partners.
Thank you for that. Any other, Dr. Sowell, yep, I see you. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree with that. And I don't know if that was Ms. Cook or who.
Darnell, Ms. Darnell.
Ms. Darnell, I agree that as opposed to us just agreeing to provide the waiver, I would be in favor of us seeking, asking for additional funding from partners to see. And I don't know if the exact amount needed, I heard about the 500 was 517, but what would that impact be? How much funding would be needed to cover that and bring the minimum up to meet what the requirement is? What's that total amount that would be needed?
And let me ask, so Dr. in addition to that, maybe if I could add two, and Dr. Pittman will let us know if she can answer it. So is there a way to ask for a waiver from the DPS Board of Education about this amount, right? So basically this 4 cents.
So I think it may be helpful if it's not the waiver of the two people per se. It's a bigger issue of Durham Public Schools is connected to the state salary scale and is connected to the Board of Education salary approval. We're in partnership with Durham PreK, and there's a misalignment of salary scale with the vote of Durham PreK. We're at an impasse of sorts. It's going to take some work back with the Board of Education, the changing of our salary structure, the align. We just can't say, oh, you're in a Durham PreK classroom, so we're going to pay you more. We would have to align and realign all of the salary scales for the instructional assistants to make it work. And it's a major piece that in this short time frame from when the state passed the budget in 2023, for us to be able to say, oh, we're able to comply. We certainly, philosophically, support and really endorse where the Durham PreK governance is with this. And we are in alignment as well. What we're trying to say is we're not only there, we're well above it when you factor in everything. It's not just a per hourly rate, it's the and all of the other things with the health insurance, the retirement, the leave, the annual leave, the sick leave. It's a compensation well in advance of the differential of 1730 to 1760, and not even looking at the salary package, which is probably, I'm doing some quick math, $18,000, where the wage hour, the difference annually is $516, but we're compensating employees at 47 minus 29, about $18,000 above versus a $500 differential of hourly rate.
And also and also to your question, Dr. Sola, I think you had asked well, at least if my calculation is correct, based on 2,080 hours of a whole year, the 4 cents difference is about $83.20. I'm just asking the question that you asked.
Right, thank you. And it may not be as simple as I'm thinking that it is, but the reason for the question was, I felt like if it's just a funding shortage, that if it's something that this group could say, hey, let's ask the county to provide X amount of funding to cover this so that we don't need the waiver, I would be in support of that. But it sounds like it's not as simple as identifying funds to cover it. There is a larger discussion and analysis that's needed. Okay.
That's
all right.
Thank you for that, Sola. Any other and this waiver is asking for this particular year, right? This fiscal year.
Mm-hmm.
Right, okay, right.
Well, yes, but it's going to be an issue that continues.
Yes.
But let's keep it narrow and right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely, because we would like to process it.
And that's my thought, like if we proceed with a waiver, it needs to have an asterisk of, it's for right now, but further conversations need to be had with the school board and with all of the situations so that it's not a permanent waiver. Like more conversation and work needs to be done for a solution.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Dr. Pittman, is there a way that we can work together to talk to the school board? Because I understand that that's a state salary scale and that needs to be worked out, yeah.
It's bigger, yes,
Yeah.
And I would think this would be very much an issue in other urban areas as well with living wages, like in Mecklenburg County and Wake and
Good
other
point.
places as
Good
well,
point.
so.
If I may say though, they don't have an awesome Durham pre-K.
They do
No,
not.
look at you.
They do not.
That is a line like this.
But I would agree with you, Kathy. I think it is something that we need to look at.
Brittany, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I just had a question of, like how teacher salaries, so like from my understanding, we have base pay that comes from the state, but also a local supplement. So how does that local supplement work for our IAs? Because that would come from local dollars.
Good point.
So the salary scale is established, and I may need to get additional information about this. I don't know if you want to, but once the salary scale is adopted, funding streams help support and implement it. So this salary scale has been, like I mentioned, the board has been committed to increasing classified salaries and have done an exhaustive study over the last year and have adopted this an increased salary scale that has resulted in great benefit to our classified employees. Where the little bit of misalignment comes is it didn't quite match what Durham pre-K's IA salary start was. For the most part, then it goes up. And like I said, every employee, we only have 2 that are misaligned right now. But with turnover, I just really wanted to be transparent. If we're filling vacancies and we're facing an additional challenge, I want us to all be aware as a team of where we are as a district and how we're connected to the partners.
I'm glad you said that. I was gonna make note of, yeah, this is for the 2 salaries right now, two staff right now, but it could change, so 10, 12, whatever. But still, I mean, I'm just not saying that we want that much transition, but I'm saying, it could, just, yes, the glass.
Okay.
We
Now,
don't want
the
that.
instructional assistance is the lowest level staff person in the classified salary schedule.
I am not clear on that.
Pretty
I
much.
don't, they're in the lower quadrant, but they're not the lowest in
Okay.
the classified scale in Durham Public Schools.
Okay.
Lowest
They're
in the
low-
classroom, but not the whole
They're the lowest in the classroom, yeah.
They're the lower in the classroom. That's kind of where I wanted to land. And, so, most of them, if they're in that classification, they don't have a bachelor's degree or has a degree in another field that would not qualify them to work as a teacher or for whatever reasons, but that they are folks that really are committed to that work, but pretty much are gonna be the least paid. And when that teacher or whatever in that classroom is not there, then that person will assume the role of a teacher in that absence, pretty much. Okay, so and I understand the state salary structure and how that works and how bureaucratic it is and different things. And like Dr. Sowell said about, getting funded from the county, I sat in those budget meetings and with the county, when I worked with the county, and Durham Public Schools was the one that kind of grabbed all the money. So I'm familiar with that
Our
process.
children,
Yes.
for our children.
It's for the children of Durham County, so I'm very supportive of that, and sounds like we do have some support at the local level to continue to support Durham Public Schools in that. So, I think just keeping the waiver, and I think that keeping the requirement in place that will have you guys continue to commit to the livable wage will speak volumes to those instructional assistants.
So can I add a couple of thoughts? I mean, I try to say a lot as chair, just because I want to monitor the conversation. I think when we made this decision about the 1760, right, we wanted to at least get that livable wage. We did not address the issue of benefits. I think we have to be pretty blunt about that.
Yeah.
People are leaving, not necessarily for just the salary, they're leaving because of the benefits, which is, especially when you're talking about sort of, particularly, those who are living in disadvantaged communities, people of color, the benefits is where your wealth really is at. So I'm saying that pretty clearly, that we have to address, so that looming issue is there with us. And so the side was trying to kind of like, we're gonna do this to at least begin, but we know that the benefits issues. And I say that noting, obviously, GPS has noted what the cost of the benefits are and how it obviously increases that. So I think we wanna not, I guess I would say, I would not wanna hinge everything on that salary alone without us actually eventually talking about the benefit side of things. But also I think we as a committee made a decision to say, this is literally the minimum because it's literally the minimum. We wanna see that, but I'm also sensitive that if DPS is not able to meet it, cause we know bureaucracy, is not gonna meet it tomorrow or even this year, so that means that we're gonna have kids who are not gonna be slots, at least that we're not gonna cover. And that means that DPS will not in essence be a formal partner, correct? And to me, I wonder if that's a much bigger message. If we're trying to say that the early child community in Durham is fully connected, and I'm not trying to be mean, but to fight over 4 cents when we're gonna have our biggest partner not be at the table and use this power of this table to push to say, we are not happy that you can't make the adjustment to come to a livable wage, and is there a way to sort of work with you all to have that happen? And we want more. I just wanted to kind of just think about what are the costs of the message being sent if DPS is not here at the table, we're not able to go to their table and say, we are really disappointed that that you can't meet the requirement that we really think was really important for the providers in this community, and what can be done. I just worry about the message if we pretty much say there's kids that are not going to be served under the DPK umbrella. So I just want us to kind of just think about what are we fighting for in reality.
Is that their position though? Is that what you guys are saying, that if you don't get the waiver, you're not gonna be participating? Is that it?
Let me interject. So we can't contract, the way it is presently, by our guidelines, we have this minimum, and we can't contract with any entity that doesn't meet our requirements. So therefore, if a waiver was not granted, then what would have to happen would be that we would have to consider whether to get authorization to pay them up to this point of the year. We haven't paid Durham Public Schools any resources at all. We've been holding those, but we would have to revisit that. And I think the larger issue for us, just as team members, we believe that this group can be a strong agent for change. You've already been a catalyst for change in Durham in terms of improving quality in early education. We're already influencing the workforce by building capacity. That's what this is all about. And I'll be honest, on the staff side of the house, I'll speak for our team. This is hard. This is really frustrating because we know that the district is well positioned resource-wise compared to our private sites. But we do acknowledge that the compensation, as Kathy mentioned earlier, as this body, we are going to be studying more deeply the benefits situation. And we do acknowledge that the compensation package for those working in Durham Public Schools is significantly stronger than what we're able to pay in the private sites. And so the issue becomes, are we going to miss that opportunity to be that catalyst for change by not saying, okay, we acknowledge that we may need more time to work with this bureaucracy to move them forward. It's disappointing that their rate, we were hopeful when they were studying the classified rates, and also when the state passed a new budget, we were hopeful they were going to be over this. This is why we haven't brought it to you sooner. We were hopeful. And from following the news that the legislature didn't pass the budget till really late. And I think that as part of our recommendation, we, in terms of the team, we believe that we can continue to be pushy. That's our job, to be pushy for children, and that we can help bring this change about in our community, but we do need more time. And I'll be honest, that's where we are.
Well, thank you for that.
Dr. Chappelle, to the hourly rate, I have not calculated it to the penny, but if we were to compare apples to apples, factoring in the benefits package. And we kind of backed away from that logic model because the benefits packages vary from provider to provider. And I didn't quite know how to level set with that. Hourly rate, I could compare apples to apples a little more easily. But it's somewhere in the round of per hour, around $27, $28 an hour when we start to factor in the benefits into the hourly rate. If that helps, the decision-making around the $17.30 versus the $17.60 an hour.
To working people, to the people that work every day, money coming home and their paycheck is more valuable to them than the benefit package. And I'm just, your higher educated folks value, have different values than people in this kind of classification that we're speaking about. I have staff as well that I pay for their health insurance and they won't take it. And so they have different sets of values. Their values are more into the money that's coming home in their pocket every day to take care of their families. The higher benefits and things like that. We're doing a lot of educating and, hey folks, this is where your real health is wealth.
It changes over time, to be honest, but it changes over time, to be honest about that. So I think so this is, I think,
And I do want Durham Public Schools at the table. They are formal departments, so I'm not just, kick out Durham Public Schools. No.
And
we have children in the private sector that need to be in these public school programs because their needs are such that they be in a higher level environment, and there's more supportive resources, especially an exceptional children's program. That is bar none. So I'm not an advocate, just throw away. But we really gotta try to champion for these folks.
Brittany?
Could we add to the waiver request, because I hear that more time is needed, but the caveat of this conversation can continue with the county and the Board of Education to see if other players can help figure this out. Because it sounds like we haven't asked that yet, and we could at least see like what is said. If this is a group that can push for change, I think that would be a needed change to continue this conversation with those who have that leverage power.
So Brittany, so is your potential revision to say, is it to say waiver request pending or hinge on the county and the Board of Ed coming together? I just want to make sure. Like, is that what you're kind of suggesting?
Yeah, like almost like a temporary request, so that way things can continue to move and they can contract, but with the next step being bringing those two parties together, then continue the conversation.
Xavier?
Yeah, so, the Board of Education, unlike in some states, in North Carolina, boards cannot levy their own taxes. They are totally dependent on the county. So if there's a budget discussion about this, the Board of Education would depend on the county anyway. That's a given. My question is, in having that discussion, I would like to be clear on exactly who is having that discussion. Is it one of the, who is it? I don't know that as advisory board, we really can have that discussion. Would it be CCSA? Who would bring this discussion to not just the DPS staff, but also board? That's important.
Yeah. So if this group, it passes some advising in terms of communication, then what our role at CCSA would be to, through making sure things run through y'all in terms of permission, but we would push that forward first to the county as the principal funder. And of course, with Dr. Sowell on the call, she already will be familiar with it, but we would work with her. We already report to the school board about this program, of course, as we also report to the county commissioners. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for us to get the issue in front of them. We obviously can't guarantee that they will take it up as an item, for their review, but we will definitely work to get it in front of them. You know, I think that what's challenging is that there are a lot of instructional assistants in the district. And so what happens is this is a large, you know, it's a larger issue. And what we are advocating for is our piece of those instructional assistants. But of course, the school board and the district has to look at all of them. And so I know it's a very complex issue, but I think that, you know, Durham is a very has strong advocates, and I think we can try to get in front of them for consideration. But I am more realistic that this is probably going to be a multi-year issue. I mean, we never know, but I do think that change takes time, and I do worry about not misrepresenting to this group what might be able to happen, you know.
And addendum to my question, Donna, I see two things happening. We're talking about local dollars coming from the county through the school board for the IAs, but there's also you're concerned about a precedent being set. You mentioned Head Start, for instance, which is funded federally, is that correct? And so that's a whole different. I think for me, I would support the waiver for a year with conversation, because it's really about more local funding than it is about state or federal funding. So with that, I would say making that conversation clear. We may end up right back here next year in the same place, but I have seen firsthand the level of support that our county has for local education, and I have confidence.
Thank you for that. Any other comments or questions? Dr. Sowell?
Yes, just one other comment I'd like to make is that, and I appreciate the comment that was just made about the level of support that the county has for this program as well as for DPS. But one of the decisions that was made with our current budget was, for the first time this year, the county funded part of that study that was referenced to supplement the pay for classified staff. That had never been done before. We were always supplementing pay for certified staff, but for this year, we decided to fund the salaries and a supplement for salaries for the classified staff. And it's for reasons like this, because we wanted to make sure that all staff, DPS staff, can earn a living wage. So please know that there is a very, very strong commitment from the county to make sure that instructional assistants, and to be honest with you, I haven't heard our commissioners make any distinction between whether it's an instructional assistant in a classroom, K through or pre-K classroom. So, and I don't know if you're comfortable with this, Linda, but I know that we have a joint meeting with the school board. For those that don't know, on a quarterly basis, the Board of County Commissioners and the school board meet. And so we are scheduled to meet on this Friday. So even if you're not prepared to do a presentation on this, it can certainly be lifted up as something that, both boards, we really would want them to take a look at how we can resolve this issue, especially if we see that it's not something that's going to be easily resolved with increasing salary. So I think we can take advantage of the opportunity on Friday to at least highlight that there was a concern that has been raised, and we would need for the boards to work together to make sure we can address this.
Thank you for that, Dr. Sowell. It makes me think of even a really well-crafted memo. Depending on how we vote here, that really speaks to our huge disappointment that DPS couldn't make it to the minimum livable wage that we have. We obviously appreciate the partnership, et cetera, but I wonder if something like that, depending on how we vote, could really be made clear, whether we're ready for this meeting tomorrow, but could also be done at a pretty much short turnaround, maybe sometime in the next couple of weeks. So, but just depending on how we vote here. So, all right, so it looks like we have a couple of options, and so somebody can actually put out a motion about this particular matter, right? We've had a couple of thoughts about deny the waiver. We've had thoughts about allowing it for, at least for this year. While conversations continue, obviously, including the one that Dr. Sola just alluded to, at least mentioned. So anybody want to put a motion on the table regarding request from DPS regarding the waiver request for the instructional assistant salary minimum hourly requirement for DPK? Any motion about that?
So I will make that motion, but with a waiver that it's only for a year. And I think we need to be really specific about that time frame. So by May of next year?
Well, if we, contractually,
Yeah.
the contract goes through the school term. So we would say if you want it to just be for this year, it would be for the 23-24 school term.
Okay. For the fiscal year, go ahead.
So then I make the motion that we approve this waiver for the 2023-24.
The current 23-24.
School, yeah, for right now, for this current school year. Yeah.
So we have a motion
With
to,
the caveat that they'll do the work and have the meetings so that when we revisit this in June or whatever the plan for the next school year, that there's a definite plan in place on how to meet this.
So I make a motion that we approve this waiver for this current school year with reported feedback on progress that has been made in resolving this situation.
thank you. There a motion to approve the DPS waiver request for the school year 23-24, along with progress in progress with the plan to address this issue. Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. We have a second. Any questions or concerns about the motion or waiver request for school year 23-24, along with our progress on a plan to resolve this issue? Okay, we're not hearing any comments or any additional comments or questions. Let's go ahead and vote.
Prior to the vote, just want to lift up that Dr. Pittman will not vote, obviously, as a elected member of the group.
Thank you for that. Yep. So Dr. Pittman will be abstaining from this vote. So, okay, so yeas to approve this motion. Okay. Thank you. All right. Thank you for, okay, so you're online. Thank you very much. And any nays regarding this motion? All right, see none in the room, and I don't see any online as well. So with that, the motion has passed to approve DPS's request regarding the instructional assistant salary minimum hour requirement for school year 23-24, along with providing a progress with a plan of how to resolve this issue. All right.
Good, one more vote.
Okay, one more vote, okay. I'm about to lose me, okay. As soon as we vote, I need to run out of here.
We're a little late.
That's okay, this was a really important, and I think we'll also do a memo to, I think, clearly make note, for those who are not in the room, about how disappointed we are, but obviously we appreciate the partnership, but making note that, we are really disappointed and hope that a resolution can be figured out sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and we'll prioritize making sure we address this at every meeting the rest of the year in terms of, an update to you about what's been done.
Thank you, Dr. Pittman, thank you.
Do you guys have time to put together something for tomorrow's meeting?
Yeah, I'll work on something and we can at least alert them, make them aware. I know the agenda for tomorrow is packed. I was looking at it, but we'll work with Dr. Soul to see what might be possible for tomorrow.
I just want to, please let us know if any letters of support or what we can do as a committee to help. Highlight this, because it sounds like even just advocating for the IAs, that this could have a bigger impact for other classified staff in the district.
Thank you. Great, thank you all.
Yeah, we'll definitely report back.
Great. All right, last voting.
This is a shorter item, but it is also financially related. Some of you may be aware that our governor recently passed, based on inflation, based on all the negative impacts of the economy in terms of early education. He decided to do a classroom bonus with some funds he had available for NC pre-K classrooms this year. And you'll recall with our braided model that what we try to do is assure the resources available across the board for all our classrooms. But we presently have 2 classrooms in our entire Durham PreK ecosystem. We have 2 classrooms that are not eligible because they don't have NC pre-K seats. They're not eligible for that bonus that the other classrooms will get from the state. And we have analyzed, and we can afford, if you choose to offer that bonus to the 2 classrooms. The bonus that is coming from the state is $3,860. We wanted to put it forth to you to consider. Full transparency, you'll recall that you voted to do classroom bonuses last school year. At the end of the school year, every classroom received a bonus at that time. But, obviously that was addressing needs from replenishing classrooms for the new year and from last year. So we wanted to bring this forth in case you chose to do something for those 2 classrooms.
Thank you for that. And this would be, in some ways in alignment with that NC pre-K, we go forth or even do better. But any questions, conversations about providing the bonus in alignment with Governor Cooper's provision of that for NC pre-K sites? And this is what you said for 2.
We have 2 classrooms that this would apply to.
Any questions? And it's within the budget?
Yes, it is within the current budget to afford it.
These would go to the provider.
Yes, it's a classroom bonus to the provider. Yeah.
All right. Any other questions?
One of the classrooms is a DPS classroom, so Debbie would have to.
Right,
Okay,
Debbie
thank
will
you.
have to recuse herself. Yeah.
Who else has to recuse if we vote on this? It's gonna be Debbie, June.
And just clarify, is it restricted or unrestricted?
So the governor's bonus was unrestricted, but it was the only restrictions were for it to be related to used in that classroom, for that classroom. And as Monty mentioned, one of the classrooms is a public school classroom, that's at Lions Farm, they're not an NC pre-K site. The other classroom is our newer classroom, First Presbyterian, which is a private site that doesn't have NC pre-K.
All right, any questions, comments? Okay, see none online and in person, is there a motion to approve providing a classroom bonus for our Durham pre-K site that is fully funded by local dollars?
A motion.
Thank you, Brittany has motion. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you, Dr. Glass. Any questions or concern about the motion? Looking online, I don't see any, and in person, I don't see any. All right, so is there a yay for the motion that has been put forth? All right. Looking online here, okay. All right, thank you. I see those online as well. Thank you for your vote. All right. Any nays regarding this motion? All right, I don't see any nays in person or online. So the motion has passed to provide a classroom bonus for our Durham pre-K site that is fully funded by local dollars. Thank you all so much for that. All right.
So we have 4 minutes before we end the meeting, and we knew this would happen, so it wasn't really that we planned poorly. What we wanted to do is go ahead and get the additional information that's in your slide deck that was sent to you out to you. We'll talk about it more in depth in January, since we knew we would likely run out of time. But just to let you know, you often ask, how are we doing, what are our numbers, all that. And in November, we historically report to you about just the seats that are locally funded. And, as I mentioned before, we have 653 seats this year that are receiving direct local dollars. And we're hovering between about 91, between 91 and 92% enrollment in those seats. It is a moving target. We always report back in January more in depth about enrollment because it stabilizes usually in the month of November. So it's a really good month for stabilization. And we also we don't have yet, but we will have by January, the numbers of other seats. Because you remember our goal as a community is to report out on all publicly available 4-year-old preschool. And so we first, of course, account for the local dollars we receive, but then we also report out about the other seats that are funded through federal and state dollars. And so in January, there'll be additional charts besides the ones here that address the full number of children benefiting from public pre-K. You know, in terms of our community goal, those of you new to the group, the Durham pre-K goal over time is to have seats to serve 75% of the 4-year-old census. That's very different than what's reported at the state level for NC pre-K. They talk about what percent of eligible children are served. And remember, we've talked before that NC pre-K has program requirements that are not open to every child. The Durham pre-K goal is to serve 75% of the 4-year-old census totally. And we're not there yet. We don't have enough seats for that, but we are making progress with that goal. And if, Jenna, if you'll move to a couple of slides forward where the seat that you'll see, this just gives you an overview of growth of seats over time, just to kind of give you a perspective. And like I said, we will go more in depth about all of this in the January meeting. Since we are out of time, but we want to get it in front of you. Lastly, I want to remind everybody that tonight, if you're able, Durham PreK, our partner, along with other partners, the Building Bright Futures Group, the State Apprenticeship Program, North Carolina Central University and UNC Greensboro are all partners with us in the apprenticeship program. And we are having an early childhood educator apprenticeship signing day. We'll have messages from Governor Cooper's office. He was not able to attend tonight, but sent us a lovely video congratulating our apprentices. And everyone's invited, feel free. Some of you, I know, have already RSVP'd, but our real goal with this is to highlight the fact that Durham's brand new apprenticeship program is already the largest early education apprenticeship program in the state. Kudos to the team that's been working on that. And you'll recall that this apprenticeship program was seeded through a private donation to CCSA, and that aligns with our goal in Durham PreK to bring in other resources. This apprenticeship program is a priority for Durham PreK, but also is open to non-pre-K, non-Durham PreK childcare providers in the community, because you recall that part of our goal is to build capacity to reach that universal goal down the road. And the only way we can do that is to continue to grow quality and to have the staff. And so the apprenticeship program, although definitely first prioritizing Durham PreK, also is available across the county community of early education programs. So we're super excited about that. So, and you got an update in your packet and about the program itself. There's really cool, exciting things going on. When you look at that update, that was also an update was provided to the Board of Education and Board of County Commission for the meeting tomorrow, the joint meeting of that group. What our goal is to have Durham PreK in front of everyone all the time. So if you have any questions about it, please ask them and, be in touch at any point with our team. I will say that the team has just been working really hard with all the partners committing to having monthly facilitated meetings this year.
Yeah.
We've always had facilitated meetings among the collaborating partners, but we've typically only met about 4 times a year. But this year we're meeting every month, which is awesome. Yeah, and if you'll move forward to the last slide, just reminding you our next meeting is January 18th. It will be all virtual this time. We really appreciate the patience of those of you who are on the virtual. We know when it's live and virtual, it's pretty challenging sometimes to hear, to see and everything, but we really appreciate your attendance. And again, we congratulate Kathy on her chair position. And Waukesha as our vice chair. And next meeting, Yum will be sitting back drinking coffee.
I don't drink coffee, but I'll be drinking something. But thank you, and of course, thank you to the new leaders here, thank you to new members, and of course, thank you as well to those who are leaving us, but will still be here some way or another. So, okay, with that, the meeting is adjourned at 11:32 a.m.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you for those online, Jason, Michelle, Dr. Stowell, thank you as much. Have a good day.